Hello, welcome to the bestest podcast in the whole wide world. Just kidding, it's the Skate Podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Josh.
And today we're talking about 1994 cult classic Clifford, starring Martin Short. But before that, we have a couple other things we'll talk about. The Happy Time Murders, Predator, Infinity War, Deadpool, A Quiet Place, Pacific Rim, Solo, Arrested Development.
Anything else?
No, just those couple of things.
Okay. Start us off.
Alright, Happy Time Murders. We both just watched a trailer for this. We were kind of speculating before on our What's Coming in 2018 about what it could be. We assumed it was going to be like a film noir, like a detective story for kids. Although it sounded a little more adult, but we weren't sure because it sounded weird because, you know, it's affiliated with the Muppets somehow.
Is it though?
It's Henson. So, yeah. It's not a kid's movie at all, is it? No, they just had a Red Band trailer come out. I just watched it. You watched it. What were your thoughts?
Personally, that's not my brand of humor.
I enjoy adult dark humor, but it just doesn't. It looks just not good.
Yeah, plus I'm tired of Melissa McCarthy's doing the same role all the time.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of hers. I mean, I saw the trailer and I was kind of, I'm not into it. I think I'm probably going to skip it, but I mean, we'll see, but it didn't look good. It was just too adult, and I think it really would have been better had they done it like maybe a black and white noir film.
It reminds me of the cartoon Bonkers, which I should have mentioned that in our cartoon nostalgia, but I forgot about it. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it. I just can't remember. We decided that was a Disney film. I can't remember.
I actually don't remember what Bonkers was.
Or a Disney cartoon. Yeah. I can't remember. I thought I saw it on the Disney Channel, but maybe not. Yeah, I'm going to skip Happy Time Murders. I actually heard there's a little bit of controversy right now that the people who run Sesame Street are suing it for their tagline.
What's the tagline? The
tagline is all Sesame or no Sesame, all Street.
Okay.
So they don't want to be affiliated with that at all.
Yeah.
And I can't blame them, really. If you get a chance, go check out the trailer. It's very adult. Other trailers we've watched, The Predator.
The Predator, yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I don't know. I'm starting to think they can't do a Predator movie anymore.
It seems silly. Like, it's a simple formula that you'd have to follow to get people to see it.
Yeah, and the whole idea that the Predator themselves are genetically altered themselves to almost like the Borg. Like
what it sounded like to me was whenever, like the alien, the xenomorphs, whatever they attach themselves to, they'll get traits from that. Yeah. But it sounded like they said something about crossbreeding. Isn't that what they said?
It sounds like the Predators are doing this to themselves.
Yeah, so now they're just xenomorphs.
Essentially, so I'm guessing at some point there's going to be a human Predator hybrid.
Yeah. I don't really care. Yeah. The trailer didn't really do too much for me.
No.
I don't really care too much for the actors that are in it. I don't hate them.
I only know Olivia Munn.
I'm not too excited for him.
It's the only one Who else was in it?
She's okay, but looks aren't everything. So anything else really? You're probably going to see it or no?
No,
you're going to skip it?
It'd be the type of thing, if it's eventually on Netflix or Prime, I'll check it out, but no, I'm not going out to see it.
Something you need to see is Infinity War.
Yeah, I got one more movie in the Marvel.
Still have to get Black Panther out of the way.
Yes.
I know we're a little bit late on this. What's the date today? The 20...
We're currently on the 27th.
Oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, it's the 27th. Infinity War came out at the end of April.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit late on it, but yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
We talked about it on your channel, didn't you?
No, not yet.
Oh.
I don't know if I will or not, but we'll see.
Oh.
I liked it a lot. I can't really say too much about it without giving spoilers away, so... the other one that we both saw... Oh, no, I'm sorry. The other one I saw more recently, also a comic book movie, was Deadpool.
Yeah.
I liked that one a lot. I think I might actually... I had more fun with it than I did with Infinity War. Infinity War is really good. But the Deadpool movie... They're not afraid to do things the right way. And I can't go too much into that either, but...
I probably won't see Deadpool.
Well, I'm gonna stay quiet about it anyway, because there might still be people out there that haven't seen it. Okay. So,
I heard that it surpassed Avengers right now for numbers.
Well, Avengers is towards the end of its run. Deadpool just came out like last weekend. So
did it?
Either last weekend or the weekend before.
Is it that new?
I think it was last weekend.
Oh.
So yeah, Deadpool is pretty good. What I like about the Deadpool series is they're not afraid to like do stuff straight out of the comic books or do things like we remember from the Fox Kids show, the cartoon, the 90s show. Like, for example, Colossus looks like Colossus. He didn't look bad before when he showed up in the other ones, but it seems more like Colossus. Okay. And there's other characters that show up that are more like they should be than in past iterations.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. Again, it was an adult movie. I wasn't sure how I'd like Cable. I liked Cable. I wasn't sure how I'd like Domino. I really liked Domino. I want to go see it again. Okay. So maybe I'll drag you to go see it or something. Domino, in the comics, she looked a little different. She had, I don't know if her skin was like white or what, but she had a black diamond over her eye, over one eye.
I saw they did that.
Basically, her special power is she influences luck.
Influences luck?
Yeah, so she has the power of luck. She doesn't actually do anything, just she has like a field around her where things tend to go her way.
Okay, and so I assume she can't really be hurt then, because she's always lucky?
I don't know. I don't know the character that well from the comics. Okay. I know there's been other characters that have had kind of similar abilities. I think Black Cat at one point.
Okay.
But, yeah, it the way that they do it in the comic or in the movie is exactly how I wanted it to work.
Okay.
Worked out perfect. I liked it. Enjoyed it a lot. The comedy was pretty good. The action was pretty good. I'm pretty sure I had heard something about them switching directors about halfway through the production, and it didn't really seem to affect it. I think Ryan Reynolds is in a lot of control for that. And that's probably a good thing. I think
I'm not the biggest fan of him, though, because he always plays the same kind of character.
He's
always a sarcastic, know-it-all jerk.
Yeah, I had this discussion with my buddy Rob that he didn't care too much for Ryan Reynolds. I've always thought he was okay. But we both agreed, like, this is the part he was born to do, and, he fits right in. And Rob was begrudged to say so, but he admitted, this is it. So, A Quiet Place, we both saw that.
We did.
How was your experience with A Quiet Place?
I liked it.
You saw it with Brittany?
I did.
And you both liked it?
Yeah.
Was she grasping onto you and closing her eyes?
Yes, she was. She was.
Was it what you expected it to be?
I mean, they didn't go into really at all what exactly they were. Like, I guess a lot of people were saying if you look around, you can kind of see, because, like, the big thing was, are they aliens? Are they, like, monsters from another dimension? Are they something that's just always been there, but, like, in...
You're talking about John Krasinski. Oh, the creatures.
Are they some kind of experimentation? And I guess they're supposed to be aliens, although...
Why do you say that?
Well, I guess they say if you look at, like, newspapers and things around, like, things that are just on, you'll see about, like, a comet coming to Earth. And
I didn't notice.
I didn't notice it either, but they don't seem like a space traveling type. They seem more like animal-like to me.
Well, it could have been one of those things where, a microbe turned into a slug, turned into a...
They seem almost like they should have been, like, an interdimensional creature. Like, just some kind of opening. But I guess that's too much like Stranger Things.
I don't know. I feel like it's still left open, even if they had kind of some background stuff.
I hear they're doing a sequel.
Maybe the newspapers are even kind of guessing what was going on.
True, that could be. But I did hear that they're going to do a sequel, which, I don't know.
I don't want them to do a sequel.
Yeah.
I feel like the movie was a one-and-done deal.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. I'll probably go see it.
But yeah, no, it was good.
You'd recommend it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so would I. My experience is a little bit different than yours. Now that it's probably out of theaters by now, maybe in a few still.
Okay.
The movie is called A Quiet Place, and when a movie is called A Quiet Place and they're using the silence as a way to build suspense and tell the story, you should keep your mouth shut. And that means don't munch on popcorn, don't open up a bag and reach in and ruffle around. I know that's hard to do during a movie. Most movies are loud and it's fine if you're sitting there, feet in your face. But the people behind me were so terrible. It was what I was afraid of. So
did you have to sit where you sat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, I always try to go to the back and middle, if I can.
We sat more towards the front.
Okay. Who'd you stay with?
I sat with Amir, and the theater was pretty close to sold out.
Did he like it?
Yeah, we both liked it.
Okay.
It was a decent movie. You can nitpick about it if you want. There's, any, like, post-apocalyptic style movie, you can wonder about the little details, like where are they getting their electricity from, and how is this happening, or why are they doing this?
Right.
just ignore that
generators
stuff.
Would be too loud. Yeah, so
yeah, they're just little things. The one thing maybe is like, how loud are they allowed to be? Because that kind of came up a couple times, but yeah, you just kind of get past it. It wasn't a big deal. Pacific Rim, I saw that. You didn't see it.
I did not.
We both saw the first one. You liked the first one.
Honestly, I'd have to rewatch it.
What are your memories?
I remember being really interested in it, but to be honest, I was more about the monsters than the robots. Like, I just more want to see, like...
Do you remember enjoying it or no?
Kinda, but I was...
Okay.
I don't know, like I said, I almost want to see
this
it again.
one, I don't think Guillermo del Toro has too much to do with it anymore. I think he stepped out, or they didn't want him. He's still listed as a producer.
Right. Because did he write the first one? Did he actually write the story?
He had a lot to do with the first one.
Okay.
He really pushed for it. And then I think maybe it was The Shape of Water. He was busy with that. So he's like, I'm going to work on this.
That's
you guys do whatever. So...
Which I guess was the right choice, right? Because...
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen The Shape of Water.
Right, but I'm saying critically it's done pretty well for itself, so...
I've heard good things about it. You haven't seen it still, right?
No, I wanted to.
So, yeah, this one seems more like, we're going to set up a franchise, so here we go. We're going to take all the steps to make sure that there's a future in here.
Right.
Which is a little bit annoying. Like, I'd rather them focus on just make a good movie first, and then, if you want to make a sequel, you can. You don't have to set stuff up for a sequel throughout every step of the movie to make a sequel.
They got to do that Marvel recipe.
Well, the Marvel recipe isn't even exactly like that, but it started off kind of weird. It felt more like Transformers in a way. I really had to suspend my disbelief because of some of the things certain characters were doing.
Okay.
And I just kind of, I was ready to check out.
Okay.
And then about maybe a third of the way through it, it started picking up a little more. And as it went, there were still some things that kind of bothered me, but it got better and better as it went.
Okay.
One of the things for me that really saved the movie was Clint Eastwood's kid, Scott Eastwood.
Okay.
You'd swear it's Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
He's pretty good. I've heard rumors about his name being thrown around if they choose to reprise the Wolverine role for anything.
Oh, okay.
If they ever chose to have him as Wolverine, I'd back that totally.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty cool. Have you ever seen him in anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was though.
His star is on the rise. I think.
Yeah. I
think he'll only be in bigger stuff as he goes, and we'll see him more and more. Solo came out this weekend.
Came out for us now. 2 days ago? Friday.
We haven't heard from Dave, but we know he loves it. I'm not really planning on seeing it, at least not in the theater.
Okay.
How about you?
I mean, it's not a big push if, one day we have some time and she wants to go see it.
I've heard a lot of people talking about basically boycotting the film because they're so unhappy with the previous Star Wars movie. And just the way the series has been going in general, it doesn't seem like they really have a plan. They're just kind of winging it. They know they're going to make money, so they're just slapping stuff against the wall.
Yeah, they haven't been stellar. Like, The Last Jedi,
Last
Jedi, that one I did not like.
I didn't see it. I've already checked out.
Rogue One, I'm just kind of like right in the middle. Like, some things were kind of interesting and cool. Some things were kind of like it wasn't memorable though. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was cool that it was a Star Wars movie that felt more like a war movie than any other, if that makes sense. Like, it felt more like gritty and like legit. If I it kind of almost reminded me like Saving Private Ryan just a little bit. I know that's probably too much of a compliment, but like it felt just more real.
Yeah, they wanted to make it more like a war movie.
And I think they did that well, and I liked that.
There are parts of it that were okay. For the most part, I didn't like that one either.
Yeah, it was just kind of just right down the middle. I know you said you didn't like The Last Jedi. I had fun with it. I was able to...
What was it called?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The Force Awakens.
You're right, yes. The Force Awakens, I was able to have fun with that. It wasn't, like, incredible, but it was certainly better than the prequels.
It would have been acceptable had their follow-ups been better.
Yeah, The Last Jedi really tore that all down.
I feel like with Star Wars, the ones from the 70s and 80s, it was, some just basic storytelling done very well. And they took the idea of it being basically a fantasy movie and just changed the setting to space. It's not... I actually consider it less of a sci-fi because there's not science really in it. It's more like, if you look at it, there's wizards, there's warriors, there's a dashing rogue, there's a princess, there's a guy that has to go save the princess, there's the big evil wizard, people are fighting with swords, there's monsters, there's magic. So it's a fantasy movie with a space setting, and it worked so good. And it was a lot of fun to watch. All three of them. I like them all. I know people kind of give Return of the Jedi a little bit of crap, and they don't like the Ewoks. I don't care.
I don't like the Ewoks.
I think it's fine.
I think I don't hate the movie, but I do think the Ewoks kind of diminish it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. But then you skip ahead, so it starts off being just a solid story, fantasy movie set in space. Has the full arc. We get the full story within those 3 movies.
Yeah.
Then you skip ahead to the prequels, and it becomes more of a political thriller mixed with action. And the politics of the movie pertain to the story.
Okay.
So, they're okay. They don't have the same heart that the first 3 did. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people kind of dogged them at the time. I think over time they've grown to be appreciated slightly more than they were.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I know a lot of people still harp on the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I don't plan on going back and watching them anytime soon, but I remember them a little more fondly than I did when I watched them.
I remember liking Attack of the Clones a lot better than the Phantom Menace.
Out. Mostly what I'm saying is there's parts of it that were good. They weren't all terrible. Then we get to these new ones where the Heart and Soul first one was a fantasy movie set in space. The Heart and Soul, the second one, were action movies with political themes throughout. Now, in these ones, I feel like there's no heart or soul at all. It's just an action movie, and there's tons of politics in it, but it's not politics pertaining to the movie. It's politics pertaining to real life, and they're trying to push agendas on your face. I get enough of politics every time I look at the internet, through Facebook and TV and radio. I'm so sick of it. People go to the movies to escape real life. Everybody works hard throughout the week. They want a break. They go to the movies, and then they get more people preaching at them.
I mean, there's a place for that. Sometimes it can be...
Well, movies can have points that they want to make.
Some can do it, and
it's just...
But I think it's almost like a bandwagon of trying to be relevant by let's do something like that.
Yeah, the way they're doing it, I don't appreciate, and then the comments they've made behind the scenes make it sound like they're stuck up and snooty, and I've had it with Star Wars. I'm done with it, unless they change direction. So I guess there's a lot of people trying to sit out Solo, even though I think it kind of looked okay, especially considering all the problems that we've heard about it with changing directors, and even bringing in an acting coach for the main character.
Well, that's not the acting coach part, but just changing directors. That's like a new thing.
Yeah.
Just period.
So, it had tons of production problems. I wasn't expecting it to be very good. Then the trailers came out, and I'm like, oh, you know what? It kind of doesn't look as bad.
Yeah.
And I've heard so far that it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's like in upper 70s on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that
I think last time I checked it was
matters,
the upper 60s. But that was for the audience score.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm sitting out Star Wars until they go back to just making a good story and not really caring so much about preaching at me and ignoring the fans. Last thing on our list here is Arrested Development. I just watched Season 4, the remix.
Okay.
So they re-released Season 4, re-edited to be more like it was before. So you got a little bit of each character in each episode. There's actually more episodes than there were in the original Season 4.
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
They added stuff to it. And I can tell there's certain parts where there's either a little bit of green screen or Ron Howard. They got him back to do a little bit of extra narration.
Okay.
I liked it. It started off being a lot of recapping.
Okay.
And there's a few episodes that are like that. Just like the first 10 minutes was all recaps.
Okay.
But it's good. I liked it. I enjoyed it more than the first time I watched it. I know some people complained a lot about it.
About the original version of Season 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the first 2 a lot. I remember when I got to Season 3, I was kind of like, I didn't like it as well. And when it got to 4, I didn't even finish. I had really lost interest in it. Because, it was where they had 2 characters legit, and then you would see, all the other characters, maybe their backs turned or something where you could tell it wasn't really they couldn't get all the actors in the same room together or something like that.
And you can't really blame them, but
no, I got it.
It takes away from the feel of the show. I understand. Yeah. All right, so anyway, the reason that we're bringing up Arrested Development now, and because they just released the Season 4 remix, is because Season 5 is coming out. It's actually coming out in 2 days from when we're recording.
Okay.
So, what, Monday? Tuesday?
Today's technically Sunday.
29th
Okay.
is when it's coming out. So, I guess that would be Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Season 5, and they got all the cast back. They said they filmed it more like the traditional seasons.
Okay.
I'm excited for it. I've been a huge Arrested Development
I'd have
fan.
to rewatch the whole series because I don't remember enough of it. Like, I remember liking it and enjoying it, especially those first two, but I wouldn't be able to jump in now. I'd have to start over.
Yeah, I've been a huge Arrested Development fan since I've seen it. I've watched the whole series all the way through several times. It actually pertains to today's episode as well, because Martin Short was in an episode called Ready, Aim, Marry Me, something where he played a radio star from like the 30s, and he was like a workout guru.
Okay.
And he was an old man in it. So he was in one episode. Also, while I was going through the filmographies of today's actors, there is a movie that Charles Grodin was in called My Mother the Car. That's
yeah.
There's
I've heard of that.
Also an episode of Arrested Development called My Mother the Car.
Okay.
That stood out to me. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, isn't that where like his mom's spirit inhabits the car or something like that?
I don't know anything about the movie. Ask me about the Arrested Development episode. I can tell you a few things.
All right.
So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. You looking forward to season 5 at all? It's on Netflix.
For Arrested, again, only if I can go back and rewatch the...
Well, you only have so much time because it's on Netflix forever.
Okay.
All right. So another thing we wanted to get to before we started Clifford today was we want to say thank you for listening. However you're listening, whether it be YouTube, on Podomatic, iTunes,
Spotify.
Our newest few episodes will always be up, available, whatever they are, on Podomatic and iTunes.
Yeah.
All of our episodes will be up on YouTube.
Right.
However you're listening right now, I'm sure we have the links available for you, so just look around for them. If you are listening on YouTube, hit that like button for us. Or hit the dislike button, either way.
Yeah, we should also say thank you to our men and women who are serving. Today is Memorial Day, after all.
Thank you for serving.
Yes, we appreciate it.
If anybody out there listening to us is a veteran or currently serving somehow, thank you very much.
We appreciate your sacrifice. Thank you.
So thumbs up to you. All right, so Clifford from 1994. Here's the synopsis for Clifford.
Tell me about it.
Clifford is a 10-year-old troublemaker who puts not only his parents through hell, but also his uncle with whom his parents have discarded him to. That's it.
Yeah?
All right, you got some trivia for us?
Not much. Yeah, today's episode 41, we're talking about Clifford from 1994, has a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 64 audience score. It was made on a budget of $19 million, but only made $7.4 million. Stars Martin Short as Clifford, Charles Grodin as Martin, and Mary Steenburgen. Steenburgen?
All right, we're having a debate about
Sarah?
this. You say it's Steenburgen, I say Steenburgen.
Okay. So trivia. Martin Short was actually 40 in 1990 when the movie was first filmed. It was held up for 4 years because of Orion Studios they were going through bankruptcy or...
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Orion was having some problems.
Okay. Some of the props were oversized to achieve the effect of Short being a child, and other actors actually stood on crates to appear taller than him, which I was watching when he was doing certain things. I thought it was like they were having just stand further away. Yeah, they might have had to do that at certain points.
When I was watching it, I was trying to figure it out too, because Martin Short isn't a tall guy.
Yeah, he's short, but he's not that short.
He fits his name, but he's not that short. And I was wondering, like, do the actors have lifts? Is he kind of like...
I just thought he was squatting down or maybe even on his knees, like, at a certain point. Like,
well, yeah, I was wondering, like, maybe he's, like, on a chair on his knees, so it looks like he's shorter, but not, like, that much shorter.
When he was talking to the pilot, I thought he's probably just on his knees.
Another thing I wondered if maybe, like, whatever stage they were on had, like, levels to it, where he would stand on the lower levels and everybody else.
But, crates is so much easier, though.
Yeah, there were some parts in the movie where, like, specifically when he's running through the train station...
Yeah.
They show him just running, and you can see all the people in the background, all the extras, and he's just as tall as they are.
Right.
But, the movie, like, as it goes, he gets taller and shorter throughout the movie.
Right. Okay.
That's it? That's all the trivia?
There's not much.
Okay.
It was hard to find stuff.
So, I looked up, I have a quote from Roger Ebert about this movie. And you tell me what you think of it.
Okay.
It's not bad in any unusual way. It's bad in an all-new way of its own. There's something extraterrestrial about it, as if it's based on the sense of humor of an alien race with a completely different relationship to the physical universe. The movie is so odd, it's almost worth seeing just because we'll never see anything like it again. I hope.
I I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I'm not saying it's...
You think he's being a little harsh?
Yeah, it's not a great
he
movie,
gave
but
it's
a
like
fun movie.
Either a half a star or 1 star out of 4, something like that.
I'm surprised he didn't just give it a 0 star with that kind of talk, but whatevs.
Well, his review is a little bit longer than that. That was just kind of like the end cap. He seemed genuinely intrigued by the movie-making process for this movie, but I think it's because he was confused by it, by how bad he perceived it to be. It was not anything critics raved about when it came out.
Yeah.
Part of that, I think, is it came out in 1994, but the movie was filmed in 1990. It was meant to come out in 1991, and I think probably had it come out around then, it would have done a little better.
Do you think the audience of the type of movies? Let's see.
Here, I actually wrote down, if I can find my page on it, shuffle my papers. All right, so in 1994, these are some of the comedies that were out in 1994, so there's a lot of competition. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, City Slickers 2, Clerks, Dumb and Dumber, Ed Wood, The Flintstones, In the Army Now. And I'm not saying all of these are good.
I'm sorry, I have to say, it's funny you mentioned Flintstones. I actually was just saying to John the other day, it's embarrassing. I actually saw the Flintstones in theater.
I did as well.
Okay.
I'm not embarrassed by it, though.
I am.
Because John Goodman's in it. I'm a fan of John Goodman.
I like John Goodman.
Also, Rick Moranis, right?
Correct.
So anyway, I'm not saying like everything on this list is good, but like this is the other stuff. There's lots of competition. So In the Army Now with Pauly Shore.
Oh, gee.
Junior, The Little Rascals, Major League 2, The Mask, Naked Gun 33 1/3, Serial Mom, and True Lies.
Serial Mom, oh my goodness.
And that wasn't all the comedies, but those are just some that
it.
I noticed that I kind of remember.
I remember Serial Mom.
So there's lots of competition for comedy in '94. Also, there were some other really big movies.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump came out. Shawshank Redemption came out. So it was a crowded year for movies. So looking at that list, it looks like the year of Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Also, like when you think about Clifford and like its tone and the way it was made and maybe a little bit of its humor, it doesn't really fit in with all of these. All of these seem like they've moved past the era in which Clifford was filmed.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
So that kind of makes sense that it really wouldn't fit in '94, where maybe had it come out when it was supposed to, it would have done a little bit better.
Right.
But yeah, I think Roger Ebert's a little harsh on it. All the critics were harsh. Like you said, it had 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
But over time, it's developed a cult following. And
Right.
like you said, it was 60-something, upper 60s.
67.
Yep. I know a lot of people have seen this movie, and it tends to be hit and miss. Either you get it or you don't.
Yeah.
Even my own experience, I love the movie, but my own experience watching the movie, it depends on who I'm watching it with, will affect on how much I enjoy it.
Okay.
So if the person I'm watching with is getting it and, you know, they're enjoying it and laughing, I will enjoy the movie a lot more, and at that point I'll think, oh, this is actually genius. If the person I'm watching it with doesn't really enjoy it and they're kind of just sitting there, then it's almost an agonizing
Do you have an example
experience.
as somebody?
No.
Okay.
What's your history with this movie?
I actually first saw this at Dave's.
Yeah, you and Dave saw it together?
Well, he had seen it before. I think it was one of those movies he had taped, or someone taped it for him. But that's where I first saw it.
Was it edited
I don't
by
remember
Dave's
it being
dad?
a super edit, but it probably was. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
It's for the most part, it's pretty family friendly. There's a scene where you can see tribal women dancing topless on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
That's not really that big a deal.
No,
There's a few swear words.
Yeah, I don't ever remember seeing that.
I think it's rated PG.
That's kind of shocking. It seems like it at least should be 13, but what
Why?
else? Well, tribal women just alone, and
I mean, you can see those on regular TV anyway.
scary images.
That was a little bit frightening, but not super bad. That we'll get to that though.
Okay.
So you and Dave watched it.
Yeah.
I assume you both loved it.
I mean, I don't remember ranting and raving about it, but I remember I thought it was funny.
Do you remember if Dave liked it?
Yeah, Dave liked it.
Should. What time is it? That's too late now.
2:01 a.m.
I was gonna say we should call Dave up and just ask him about it, but maybe it's a little late for that. Dave, you escaped this time. Yeah, this was released by Orion, and Orion had some issues. Orion ended up going bankrupt. So they started in 1978.
Okay.
But they were pretty big in the early 80s. They started running into problems around 1984, and they ended up hitting bankruptcy in 1991, and all the way up till 1995 they were dealing with that. They finally were done in 1999. I believe they're owned by MGM.
Okay.
What's surprising, and I can't remember what movie it was that I saw, but I saw a recent movie, and at the end of the credits, I saw the thing where it said Orion, and I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Orion? So I had to look it up. They actually returned in 2013. And they have a whole slew of movies since then.
So wait, they're back to being owned by Independent?
I think they're still under MGM.
Okay.
But I think a lot of the movies that they're doing now are like little low-budget independent stuff.
Okay.
So there's nothing really to mention. But if you wanted to go look it up, it's on Wikipedia. They have tons of movies since 2013. But before that, like here's a list. They had to have been terribly mismanaged.
Okay.
Because here's a list of some of the movies. These are just some of the movies that they were responsible for. Arthur, Platoon, RoboCop, Throw Mama from the Train, Hoosiers. Am I saying that right? Hoosiers?
Sure.
Hoosiers?
Hooters.
Hooters. We all thank them for Hooters. Dances with Wolves, The Silence of the Lambs, Caddyshack, First Blood, Rambo.
Wow.
The Terminator. Three Amigos, Eric the Viking, UHF. So, I mean, there's some classics in there, but there's some huge movies in there. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. And so they had to have been terribly mismanaged. I don't know how they couldn't have been making money if you have The Terminator and Caddyshack and
Dance of Wolves was a huge movie.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's pretty crazy. I miss Orion. I'm glad they're back. I don't think they're going to be making the kinds of movies that they've made in the past. All right, shuffle my papers. All right, the movie stars Martin Short. We're both familiar with Martin Short. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he's been in Arrested Development. Some of the other stuff that I've seen him in, as far as movies go, are Three Amigos, Inner Space, Pure Luck, Captain Ron, Clifford, of course, Mars Attacks, Jungle to Jungle with Tim Allen. I don't know if you remember that one.
I never saw that one, but I didn't know he was in that either.
He got his start on SCTV, which is Canadian SNL, basically.
Yeah.
And then he was in for maybe a season or two of SNL.
Was he? Oh, that's right. He was the guy that was always dancing. He's
guest starred on numerous TV shows, including Taxi, The Tracy Ullman Show, Maniac Mansion, which was a Canadian TV show.
Okay.
Arrested Development, Curb Your Enthusiasm. He was in an episode of that. He's been on an episode of The Simpsons. So he's been around. What do you know him from?
It's going to sound a little embarrassing. So besides like Three Amigos, Father of the Bride, the remake.
Steve Martin.
Yeah. He was in those movies. He was pretty funny in those. Usually I think of him from those two movies, The Three Amigos, and this. Okay,
so a question I have for you about Martin Short is, do you think he's funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The topic came up. It's a wrestling thing. The wrestler Chris Jericho, he's from Canada, and back when he worked in WCW back in the day, there was like a locker room debate that he started where is Martin Short funny, and all the Canadian wrestlers said yeah, of course, and all the American people said no.
Oh.
So I thought that was interesting. I think he's funny. I think he's a little hit and miss. I think a lot of Canadian humor is like that. I don't know if you ever watched like Kids in the Hall.
A little bit, not much.
It's hit and miss. Some of the stuff is kind of weird, and other stuff is pretty funny.
Okay.
And I think that accurately sums up Martin Short. He's pretty good in this movie as a 10-year-old boy. Just the idea of seeing him play a 10-year-old boy is pretty funny.
His faces.
Yeah.
Like when he's
look at me like a real boy.
Yes, exactly. You can't do it.
That's the gimmick of this movie, obviously, but I think it's deeper than that. Some people were saying that like that's all there is to it. It's one trick pony, just seeing a 40-year-old man play a 10-year-old. But I think there's more to it. I also kind of was thinking about it, and I wonder if part of the reason... I mean, obviously, Martin Short's the star of the movie. He was meant to be the star of the movie, but from a story perspective, seeing him as himself as a 10-year-old boy actually makes sense to me because the movie is a story within a story. Right. It starts off showing Clifford in the year 2050 as an elderly priest at a boys' home, and he's telling the story of when he was a rotten little kid.
Right.
So, as seeing him as himself, that coincides with his memory.
Right, and I think it's interesting you also already see how he's going to turn out. Where like...
if we didn't know that already, because Clifford has he's not redeemable in any way. He's so terrible.
He basically is almost
he's
crashes
the villain.
a plane. Yeah.
Yeah. He put tons of people in danger, and he didn't care who he hurt as long as he got his way. And what he wanted was something so trivial.
Yeah, it's funny because no real child could actually think to be that sinister. Right. And I love the part where he's like, I might be saving the world from another Hitler or something like that.
Yeah. I just built the best nuclear bomb in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
There were movies around this time. I think Dennis the Menace was out around this time. There's Problem Child was out around this time. Late 80s.
It kind of reminded me of Problem Child, but would that kid ever get redeemed in that one? Or he's basically just a little snot the whole way through?
I don't remember. I think there's 3 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I knew there was 2.
Sure the first one was just him and John Ritter, and the second one, I think John Ritter got married, and so he had a stepsister that was just as terrible as him, or something like that.
Okay.
It seems like there were a few more movies where, like, they had starring bratty kids doing everything.
Yeah, that seemed like a big trend. What's funny is, hear me out on this, it kind of reminds me of What About Bob?
That I've heard that, yeah.
You have one guy that's either annoying or sinister, bothering or causing problems for the let's see, What About Bob? It's a psychiatrist, Richard Dreyfuss, and him. He's not as harmful as Clifford. He's just more annoying and whatever. But it's kind of the same.
Bill Murray
mechanics.
In that movie is good intention the whole way through. He's not doing it on purpose, or at least I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a few times he's kind of a little, but
And also, to reverse things a little bit, in that movie, Richard Dreyfuss kind of deserves it a little bit.
He's very high-horsed.
Yeah, he's just trying to live his life, but at the same time, he's kind of a jerk.
Right.
And they really emphasize that in certain scenes. Whereas in this movie, Uncle Martin, he's maybe not the best guy in the world, but he's genuine.
Well, he's using Clifford.
He is using Clifford, but he's not doing it in a way that's malicious or harmful to anybody. He's just trying to prove to Sarah, his fiancée, that he likes kids, and he doesn't.
Right.
He doesn't deserve any of the stuff he gets from Clifford, I don't think.
No.
You could totally sympathize with him.
Oh, absolutely.
Martin Short does an excellent job. The way Clifford acts, he's totally manipulative.
Yeah.
So he'll come across as a nice, polite, sweet young boy.
He knows how to play people. He knows how to talk to people. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
He's terrible to Uncle Martin. He's terrible to his parents. But when it comes to strangers or people that he likes, he's
right.
Well,
he started off good with Uncle Martin because he was going to get what he wanted. He's going to go Dinosaur World until he realized that it was he wasn't going to get it.
Shuffling papers again. Another movie I kind of compared it to while I was watching it, and I didn't think of it any other time until this most recent time. Wasn't Ben Savage also the little kid that was being told the story?
Yes.
In A Princess Bride?
That was his brother, Fred.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay, well, kind of similar in a way.
I can feel it now.
And also, this movie has a little bit of a fairy tale quality to it. Slightly. Just the way it's a little bit surreal.
Yeah, I mean...
And the way it opens up, showing the montage of Clifford riding around with his dinosaur.
Yeah, to be honest, I never thought this until this most recent time. I almost wondered for a minute, was any of this real? Like, did he actually do these terrible things?
You think he may have embellished?
Or was he making it up to show
Ben
this
Savage,
kid, like you need to, But I think maybe they wanted you to think that, but then when he pulls out the toy dinosaur at the end, it's supposed to solidify, yes, this did really happen.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he could have just still had the dinosaur. I never thought of it that way, where he might be making some of it up. That would probably make a little more sense, because some of the movie is kind of unrealistic.
Yeah. Just little stuff they say at the beginning, like he's like, what's the problem? Well, Coach whatever said I could play basketball, but now he won't let me. And you thought blowing up the gymnasium was a good response?
Yeah, he's trying to prevent this kid from becoming him.
But he said it so as if
so nonchalantly.
Yeah, as if it was just blowing up the gymnasium.
Well, compared to the stuff Clifford has done, I guess that wouldn't have been that far of a stretch. One of the things I get a kick out of is when Uncle Martin picks up Clifford at the airport. He's stolen all this stuff from people.
Yeah, what happened to that dog?
It ran away because remember it chased the cat.
Oh, that's right. I think it's funny. He had all this stuff. Somehow he was able to walk away with.
Yeah, I actually wrote down a list. stole a Walkman, a dog, a mountain bike, a stereo, and a surfboard. Like, why would he need any of that stuff? Yeah. He said that his dad was scared of burglars.
Yeah.
His dad, do you recognize his dad?
Yeah.
His name in the movie is Julian. The only thing I recognize, or I've seen that actor before in a few things, but the thing I remember most from, I think, was it News Radio or was it Spin City that he was in?
He was in Spin City.
Yeah.
I know he was in, I think, a couple episodes of Scrubs.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else, but yeah, I definitely know him from stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so Martin Short is great in this. He makes me laugh, especially with some of his faces, and he's the perfect person to play probably a 10-year-old kid at that time.
Yeah.
At that time, I mean 1990. The movie co-stars Charles Grodin.
Yep. Everybody's favorite grump.
Yeah, Charles Grodin. I'm familiar with him from King Kong, The Great Muppet Caper, The Incredible Shrinking Woman with Lily Tomlin.
I knew he was in that, but I never seen it.
Beethoven 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Also, and I guess he was in So I Married an Axe Murderer, but I don't remember him from that.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't remember him being that either.
He also had his own TV talk show on CNBC for a time.
Didn't he get into politics? I think?
Well, that was kind of...
Didn't he quit acting?
He quit acting to do this TV show. It was on the political show, political station, CNBC.
Right.
From 95 to 98. I think my mom used to watch it.
Okay.
And I remember her watching it, and he was just always going on about the OJ trial, which everybody was.
Yeah.
But that's all I really remember about it. I love Charles Grodin in this movie. Out of everything I listed, to me, he stands out in this the best. Mm-hmm. He is the best part of this movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
His reactions, the way him and Martin Short play off of each other, watching him being driven mad by this demonic little boy is just great. I love everything about him in this movie. Just the faces he makes and everything.
Of disgust?
Yeah, just even the way he acts with other characters, too, with Mary Steenburgen and Dabney Coleman. He is great. I wish he had a bigger career. I'm not saying his career was short. He's been in a lot of stuff. I only listed a few things.
Right.
What are you familiar with him from?
King Kong, Beethoven, the movie. It's not a very big part, but Dave. I remember him being that.
What was Dave?
The movie about the guy who looks like the president has to take his place.
Was it Dave Thomas?
Mitchell.
Mitchell?
I think. Wait, no.
Who played
Mitchell.
Dave?
Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin Kline?
All right. So, yeah, I don't really remember that one. Do you agree with me? Is Uncle Martin the best part of this movie? Or do you think it's Clifford?
It's like a toss-up. I think it's got to be them together. Because, I don't think if Charles wasn't in this movie, it wouldn't be.
They definitely were equals, at least, in this movie. Like, it says starring Martin Short, and he's the main character. But really, the movie is almost more about Uncle Martin than it is about Clifford.
Yeah.
In a way, like
we learn more.
Once you start hearing the story from old Clifford about what happened, it becomes all about Uncle Martin.
Right.
I love at the beginning when he's so lucky enough. He was just talking about Clifford to Sarah.
Right.
He gets that house on the cliff, and she's so disgusted by it because they're supposed to get married, and she wants to have kids, but he doesn't care. And I was thinking about it like, well, why would you agree to marry somebody if they didn't want to have kids? I think probably that's something that came up, and he probably just said, yeah, sure, I'll have kids, type of deal,
right.
But wasn't really thinking about it, or wasn't planning on it anytime soon. But he makes it obvious that, he's not really, it's not on his mind when it's more of a priority for her.
Right.
They get that house, it's on a cliff, and it looks like a totally weird house.
And I was like, big mistake, man. You never do something like that. You never just assume you know what's up.
Well, what's funny is his house seems big and nice enough. Like, why would they need to sell their houses to move into this cliff house?
Yeah, he has a much nicer house.
And she calls it a bachelor pad, and it's like it looks super modern. Like, it's all metallic
it's not
looking.
homey looking.
No, not at all. And she's like, oh, it's obvious you don't want kids. Oh, I love kids. Oh, yeah, where are they going to stay? And there's only one bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just all playing on the cliff.
Yeah, she's like,
he looks down, and he's like, whoa, that is quite a drop. You see people way at the bottom, like with a donkey walking by.
But I guess it's subtle, but he is an architect. Yeah, I could see where that's more of a
maybe he appreciated it more than she did because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't go into that too much with that part.
They actually work together in the same building,
right?
Which is interesting. Probably that's how he met her,
right?
We'll get more into her in a minute and their boss. I love the way he plays off everybody when they're at the dinner party and Clifford spikes his drink with the Tabasco sauce.
Right.
Oh my gosh, his face.
Kind of like you just tricked me into eating those nasty peanut things.
Yeah, I just pulled a Clifford on Josh, and I actually feel kind of bad about that. What are these things? Let's take a look. So I bought a package of Blue Diamond almonds, and they're called Bold Wasabi and Soy Sauce. They were, like, I like wasabi, but the first few bites were a little bit hotter than I expected it to be. And so I told Josh, hey, these things are pretty sweet. Try them out. And I made it sound like they were sugary.
Yeah.
So how was that?
It kicked me right in the face. Like, it was strong. I couldn't...
I was trying to help you clear your sinuses up. Yeah. You said you had allergies today.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, that scene's pretty good. It's just everything he does in the movie, his reactions are perfect.
Yeah.
And I keep saying that, but really it is. What are some of your favorite reactions he does in the movie?
I like the part where he's like, Uncle Martin, save me. And he's like, it's just sitting there and I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. And the way he delivers a line, like he's being honest. He really is considering
like
just
he's
leaving
not
Clifford
like
there.
Trying to like pay him back. Like, I'm going to leave you quote, literally hanging there. Like, he's literally thinking it over. Would mankind be better if this kid dies?
Another one of my favorite moments is towards the end of the movie when he's giving his presentation. Finally, this thing he's been working on throughout the whole movie. Here it is. Clifford rigged it to explode somehow.
Yeah, I was like, because what did he slide in there? It wasn't like
It's like a cassette.
A cassette?
Computers back in the day, some of them used cassettes to save stuff on.
Okay.
Probably if they had a lot of information.
That didn't make much sense how he was able to get that to explode.
Clifford has a lot of special skills. He's a very special child. They say it at the beginning of the movie. So after that explodes, just the look on his face when he realizes it was Clifford, he's like, "Well done, Clifford." Yep. You can tell, like, finally he's snapped. He's reached his breaking point, and he's well beyond it. Some of those other movies that Charles Grodin's been in, he's been good. I think he's a great actor. But this one, his performance really stands out the most.
I feel like he is kind of, at least from what I've seen him in, though, he's kind of the same character. Very grumpy. I
wouldn't say his range is super big, but he doesn't act exactly the same in Beethoven at first. I guess it's kind of the same idea. The dog drives him nuts. That's kind of interesting. Because when you say Clifford, one of the things that really annoys me about this movie is that it's called Clifford, and there's also Clifford the Big Red Dog. So every time I ever ask anybody about it...
They think you're talking about that?
Oh, you mean the Big Red Dog? No, I don't mean that. Why would I be asking about that? So anyway, that's kind of interesting that he was also in a movie about a big dog.
Yeah. But like even like in Dave, he just seems very annoyed all the time.
In King Kong, if I remember right, he was a pretty serious guy.
Yeah.
And he didn't really have a lot of those crazy reactions, even though some crazy stuff was going on, because, it wasn't a comedy. He was just playing it straight.
Yeah.
He did a good job in that. I don't remember Great Muppet Caper too much. I remember him trying to seduce Miss Piggy.
I don't know if I've seen that one. The only Muppet movie I really know is...
He was a thief.
Okay. I only know Muppet Christmas Carol.
Okay.
With...
An Incredible Shrinking Woman, I think he usually plays a straight man, even though he can do it in a funny way.
Yeah.
Other than that, Mary Steenburgen? Burgen or Bergen?
Burgen. Steenburgen.
I'm voting for Steenburgen. Sure. Anyway, so obviously we both know her from Back to the Future 3.
Claire Clayton.
I've also seen her, although I do not remember her being in this, What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Yeah, I don't remember her in that. I do know she was in this movie, not Life of a House. I think maybe she wasn't. I don't know.
Of the four main cast members, she's the one that I am least familiar with, I think. Outside of movies, I know she's been married to Ted Danson since 1995.
Okay.
And she plays an exaggerated version of herself along with Ted Danson throughout the series of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is on HBO. Have you ever watched that?
I have not. But I don't have HBO.
You weren't like a Seinfeld fan.
It's not that I'm not, I just never really saw it. For whatever reason, that wasn't a show I grew up on. I was willing to watch it. In fact, we were talking about one time, I was going to try to look it up, but it's not on Netflix.
You don't necessarily have to watch it from the beginning. In fact, the first season or two is kind of rough. But it's on... They show it on TBS all the time in HD, and I think if you have On Demand, you can always go to TBS On Demand and watch it.
I don't have cable.
I thought you had AT&T.
I have internet, but I don't have cable.
Well, you still might be able to look it up.
Shut up.
Check. Go to your provider's website and check it out. They might have on demand.
Go to your newspaper.
Okay, so anyway, enough with Seinfeld. Back to Mary Steenburgen. She's also been in episodes of. Oh, she's actually in the Back to the Future cartoon.
Yeah, her? Actually, her though?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I know that the Claire Clayton character's
She's
in there.
been in episodes of Frasier, Becker, and Robot Chicken.
Wait, she was in Frasier?
One episode, I suppose.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember her being Frasier.
So she's fine in this movie. Every time I've seen her, she seems like a real sweet person.
Yeah, she seems like a mom or a teacher. She seems
she
like
is a teacher in this.
Yeah, which is funny because...
Isn't she a teacher in Back to the Future as well?
That's right, she was, yeah.
There you go.
Huh. How about that?
So I'd say in this she's slightly on the naive side.
Yeah.
Her backstory is she's been married before, but she had problems with her husband, now ex-husband, because he didn't want kids either. Her parents seem wealthy. They have that anniversary party they go to for the parents. They live in like a mansion.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious how much her father hates Martin. The mom's fine with it. She loves Martin, but the dad does not approve, and it's very obvious. She's pretty sweet in this movie. Their boss, Dabney Coleman, I can't remember the character's name right now, hits on her.
Yeah.
And it's funny watching Martin deal with that because he's bothered by it, and you can tell he's bothered by it, but he doesn't want to make a big deal of it at first. They kind of argue about it for a second.
That reminds me of Mr. Mom a lot.
Because you just watched that.
Yeah, I just watched it twice, actually, fairly recently.
Uh-huh.
For our scrapped episode, but it's kind of the same idea where there's a woman that works, and her boss is kind of, wanting to...
Womanizer.
Yeah, but
offering her promotions.
Special eye on her, yeah.
Yeah, she was great in that scene where he meets her out in... Where was it that he went to? San Francisco.
Yes.
And she's talking about being able to spot a phony a mile away.
Yes.
And then those two beautiful women come up looking for their dog.
Yeah.
I'm happy that it had kind of a
yeah, he just kind of sits there like...
Another great reaction.
Yeah. So,
I'm happy that at the end of the movie they got married and they had Clifford at their wedding, kind of wrapped things up with a nice little bow.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, there's not that this is that type of movie, and I know this is probably really thinking too much about it, but I was like, how did they get back, like how...
I don't think they broke up. I think it was just a fight.
Okay. Because, there's also the kid thing they still had to, figure out, and I especially assume he wouldn't want kids after that. It just it seemed like there would be a lot of hurdles for them to go through.
I think maybe in a way dealing with Clifford was good for Uncle Martin. I think maybe I can have kids, but I'm not going to raise them to be like this.
Yeah.
And I think in the end he did kind of like Clifford, even after all that he put him through.
Well, he says he sent him 200 and some odd letters of apology.
267.
And they all came back unopened.
Uh-huh.
She invited him to the wedding.
He gave him a big kiss, though.
Reluctantly. How long she was sitting there. Come on, go for it.
Well, I know everything that Clifford did was to the extreme, but in reality, a kid is going to kind of drive you nuts. But at the end of the day, they're still just a kid, and you know that.
Well, yeah, but that's not Clifford. He's not just a kid.
Well...
Okay, so how did Martin explain the damage to the ride?
Wait, let's get into that later.
Very well.
All right,
Cutsies.
So Dabney Coleman. Now, you weren't too familiar with him?
I know him from the Beverly Hillbillies movie.
And 9 to 5?
I know he was in 9 to 5, yeah.
I've seen him... Well, it's funny because he also was in a Muppet movie. He was in Muppets Take Manhattan.
Okay.
I don't remember him. It's been forever since I've seen those older Muppet movies. But yeah, 9 to 5, Muppets Take Manhattan, Dragnet, Beverly Hillbillies... And that's about it, all that I recognize him from. Mm-hmm. Out of everybody that I looked at, out of those four, he has the largest filmography. Mm-hmm. So he's been in a lot of older stuff. He's also the oldest one. Mm-hmm. He was born in 1932. He's currently 86.
Okay.
He was drafted in 1953
to
the Army. And he became an avid tennis player while being stationed in Europe. So there you go. He cracks me up. I've only seen his comedic roles, and he usually plays some kind of wacky character. In Dragnet, he played basically a version of Hugh Hefner.
Okay. Oh, that's right, yeah.
And he has, this mansion, and he's surrounded by all these women, and he gives himself, a crazy little lisp.
Okay.
He has a real funny way of talking.
All right.
In 9 to 5, he was the jerk boss.
Correct.
Well, that's a theme, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He treated all the secretaries, the women that worked for him, horrible.
Yeah, they all had, fantasies about how they'd like to kill
him, accidentally giving him rat poison and stuff like that. I watched that maybe a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fresh in my head. I don't remember him in the Muppet movies. In Beverly Hillbillies, was he a banker?
Yes, he was. I think he was the president of the head guy of the bank branch that they chose to put their money into.
Okay. Yeah, and so he was coming up with the plan.
I don't feel like he was. I don't think he was the villain so much. He was.
Wait a second. Let me think. He was in love with their money, and he would do anything for their money.
Yeah, he just wanted them to keep their money in his bank.
Who was Leah Thompson associated with?
She was pretending to be a French teacher because he wanted to.
But she was already married to somebody?
She was married to Rob Schneider. She was pretending to be single to get.
Schneider.
Yeah. Okay. Jed Clampett.
Now I'm getting it mixed up with Tommy Boy. That has a similar premise in it, doesn't it?
Jed Clampett wanted to get his daughter Ellie Mae to be more refined.
Ladylike.
So he had heard that French tutors were the best. So she posed as a French tutor to teach her that, but really it's to try to get him to fall in love with her so she can get the money from him.
And she'd rather be with Rob Schneider than Jim Varney.
Yeah. I guess so.
But yeah, he was just the president. I guess.
Yeah, he was just the president of the bank that just wanted to make sure the money stayed with his bank.
Dabney Coleman in this is funny. I like his character. I like his performance. Mm-hmm. Part of that Roger Ebert review was one of the positive things he said was the performances were all good, and it's totally true in this movie. Everybody's really good in it, and I like the little kind of side plot with his hair.
Yeah. He just comes back, he's got this long ponytail.
Yeah, there's all these rumors that he's wearing a wig, and then Sarah finds out later while she's struggling in the car with him, the limo, that he does indeed wear a wig, and she throws it out the window.
Yeah.
And the next day, he shows up, just suddenly has a ponytail. Yeah. It's the same hair he had before, just with a ponytail.
Yeah.
And Martin makes the comment that he looks like Willie Nelson.
Why would he just cut off the ponytail if he...
I thought about that too.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Or you think he's rich enough to have 20, 30 of these wigs, just,
Yeah, it's a real funny moment, though. And when watching it again recently, I thought it was really funny. I don't know why, but I never got as big of a kick out of it as I did last time. When he comes up to Martin after the thing explodes. And he says, I happen to love Willie Nelson. And just the way he delivers that line, he's so intense about it. I can imagine they had to have done that a few times, or they cracked up afterwards.
Yeah.
Because the way he delivers that is so funny. He's a great character in this. He doesn't play the biggest part. He's just, a small part of the cog here.
Yeah.
A cog in the wheel, however you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Did you have anything to add about Dabney Coleman?
Nope.
All right. Notes and nitpicks.
I don't really have nitpicks as much.
Notes.
The only thing, we were kind of just talking, I think we already said, was maybe something to show Uncle Martin and Sarah kind of reconcile after their fight and kind of, maybe find out that they did have kids of their own, or that they, something kind of worked out with that, because that was kind of the main thing that kicked it off. Just maybe to see that would be, I guess, the only nitpick.
What was the question you're going to ask? How did
Martin explain the damage to the ride? So he goes to the dinosaur world. He tells the guard, hey, I want to give him a tour. I'll take any responsibility. He, by basically having it go through so many times faster and faster, he tears up the ride.
Yeah.
So basically, there's all this damage. I just wonder how he explained that.
I don't know.
He designed. He doesn't...
He said he designed the ride.
He designed the ride. He doesn't, work for the amusement park, whoever owns the amusement park. So I would still think there's, did he have any jail time for, You know what I mean? Like, there would have to be... I would think there would be some kind of ramifications of that, like... Because
I imagine
one thing, if he worked for the amusement park, but he still had passes, I guess, as an architect, to go through.
I imagine they would have, like, fined him. He would have had to pay something, and probably they would have hired him for free to redesign the ride or something like that, and probably revoke his pass. Like, he wrecked that ride pretty good, and that dinosaur after the pterodactyl flies into him and like it starts ripping like more or less the skin off of it. Yeah, it looks terrifying.
That's what I wrote. The T-Rex is terrifying. He's scarier looking. Like
as a robot, yeah.
I don't know if it's just the eyes. Something about the eyes are really creepy looking when he's like looking up and like it's just chomping randomly.
It looks less silly and more threatening.
Yeah.
At that point. I imagine... Can we look up the budget? I didn't look up the budget. I wanted to.
I'd already said this, idiot.
Oh, what'd you say it was?
Budget was $19 million. Box office was $7.4.
$19 million. I imagine half of that.
Well, I don't think he was full size. Do you?
I don't know.
I'm assuming he was, yay big.
I think there were probably a couple different versions of it, of various sizes. I think a large chunk of that budget had to have gone towards this final part of the movie.
Because, I mean, just the fact that when you see Clifford go through, you can see, like, it's made to look like a volcano and, mountains.
That whole ride, not just the dinosaur, but, like, everything in that ride. It took some special effects to do all that.
Right. Now, the first pterodactyl, the one that's, like, standing, like, turn back, whatever, that probably looks full size. But then, like, when the train's going, you could tell at certain points they just got him on something that's tilting. That's like a...
There's one part where it turns to the side, and then it turns back real quick, and you can tell that it's not a person in there. It's like a mannequin.
Okay. And then, obviously, it goes through a loop-de-loop. That's got to be all miniature.
Well, I think that's just a camera going around in a circle.
Right, but you actually see the car.
And a green screen.
You actually see the car go.
They didn't have green screen back then, but the precursor to it.
They didn't have green screen back then?
I don't think so. I think it was rear project. One of the things that I always wonder when I watch this movie is the scene where Clifford explains that he plays with his principal's wig, his teacher's wig.
Okay.
And he mentions that the art teacher also borrows the wig.
Because he said something different.
Yeah. He says that his teacher lets the kids play with his wig at lunch, use it as a frisbee. And that's funny. But then he says the art teacher also uses it, but that would be for different reasons. And it seems totally dark, and I don't quite understand.
I wonder if it's one of those things that just they don't really have.
There's no explanation. They just want you to wonder.
Just to make you wonder.
Martin looked very confused when he said that too.
Yeah.
I have no idea. All right, anybody that's still listening to this, if you have any ideas of what the teacher used the wig for, drop them in the comments.
Oh boy.
Well, we'll see what we get. I don't know. Maybe she was building her own husband out of clay.
See, and that's the thing. I always took it as the art teacher being a male.
Well, he said it was a woman. I'm pretty sure.
He? Okay. Then I didn't catch that part. I always assumed it was a male art teacher using the wig, but maybe you're right.
Well, if it was a male, then that would make more sense because maybe he was bald and he was like, "Let me borrow your wig. I'm going to go to lunch."
Well, see, I still was thinking it was something
weird.
Yes.
Well, the way he implies that it's something strange, but he never says. The scene with the donut, I get a real kick out of.
Donut.
So when Clifford first arrives and he's in bed, he's eating a donut and watching TV, and they're talking about the ring. He found the ring for Sarah, and I think Martin took his donut or something like that.
Oh yes.
No.
What he hugs him.
He hugs him, and it squishes it against Martin's clothes. So and then he peels the donut off, and he hands it back to Clifford. Clifford's holding on to it, and he's shaking his hand. I like how the donut just keeps going back and forth between them.
Yeah.
The scene where they're at the mansion at the anniversary party, I already mentioned that. Everything about that is gold. I can't imagine what Sarah was thinking when she comes into the kitchen and Martin's trying to beat up Clifford with the
loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to play it off like he's teaching him how to play baseball.
Yeah, and she's like, "You would tell me if you were having a nervous breakdown, wouldn't you?" One scene that doesn't quite work for me is when he fakes the panic attack and needs chocolate.
Oh. That's just kind of the bratty kid thing.
It's okay, but when he goes inside and he's like, I need chocolate, and he's yelling at the guy behind the counter, and it's like,
Yeah.
It is kind of funny that he switched clothes with the dinosaur kid, although I don't know why that kid would be wearing that costume. It was simply just to have that joke.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there's some great parts of this movie. Let me double check my notes. Speaking of Seinfeld, Mr. Lippman from Seinfeld, I guess you wouldn't know him, but he was one of Elaine's bosses and a reoccurring character throughout this show.
Okay.
He was one of the cops interrogating Uncle Martin.
Okay.
He was the one that did, I think, probably more of the talking, and they were adjusting the lamp. That was also a fun scene.
Okay.
You're trying to grill it out of me with these hot lights.
Well, now it's too dark.
I do. I get a kick out of this movie. I know a lot of people that have fond memories of this movie.
Yeah.
I've watched it. Oh my gosh. We rented it so much. Just my whole family loved it. And, I've watched it more than 30 times.
Okay.
I can safely say. I wish they had it on Blu-ray. Last I checked, they don't. It's only on DVD. Who knows? I mean, it's reached a cult status now. It's a great movie. Martin Short, actually, I was trying to find any interviews I could. Couldn't find anything. Martin Short did say, though, and I don't know from when this interview was, but he said every time, he doesn't go a day without somebody under 30 walking up to him and talking about Clifford.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I had read something that said this was his favorite movie he did, but I wasn't sure how accurate that was.
It looked like it would have been a lot of fun to make.
Yeah.
For everybody involved. What did you say? Did we say what the director has done?
Oh.
Paul Flaherty?
Let's see. Mad TV, Larry Sanders Show. He did 3 Billy Crystal specials. Who is Harry Crumb?
It's nothing big.
Nothing.
So, I guess I don't have too much in my notes. I didn't even really take notes because I've seen the movie so much.
Yeah.
But here's another thing I can ask you for fun. Where'd that lasso come from?
That was I pointed out to Brittany. That's just one of the funny little things they do. Yeah,
it's just something that happens. It's almost in a way a cartoon.
Yeah. Even Brittany laughed at the part where at the very beginning, like the basketball, then a suitcase. I love how it's like it gives him time every time to get back up. Like the basketball, then he gets back up. Then here comes the suitcase. Like it doesn't just keep piling. And then like that clear dummy. Like I don't know. She said it. Even that made her laugh. Like.
Had she ever seen it before?
No, but she didn't finish it.
Oh no.
She got tired and went to sleep.
That's cool. It's a fun movie to watch if somebody hasn't seen it before. But like I said, it's hit and miss. So if the person isn't enjoying it, you're not going to enjoy it.
Right.
You want to do final thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead.
You start.
Like I said, it's not the best movie in the world, but it's a fun movie. I almost felt silly thinking too much about, I wish they would have shown this or how did this happen. But it's just kind of something just to have fun with and relax and laugh at. It's.
Perhaps you were dreaming about your early days in the circus.
Yeah, wait, who said that? Which part was that?
He said that to the lady on the airplane when he was flipping Stefan up.
That's right, yeah. I knew that was in there, actually.
Yeah, I love this movie. It's hard to watch it with people that don't get it, but, you can find somebody to watch it with, and you'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's... I don't know how you couldn't get a kick out of it, but some people, I guess, are just too serious.
I'm going to go ahead and rate it.
No.
I'm going to give it a C+.
Okay.
I enjoy it more than that personally, but I think just trying to be fair, C+ is good.
I was torn between like a B- and a C+.
It does feel like part of what Roger Ebert said was right. Like there's something missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is. There's no way I could say what would fix it. There is something, like, it seems like it could have been better. I can't really point it out.
Like I said, for me, just once he has that epiphany of, he says, I realized I didn't want to, because even after Uncle Martin saves him and he hugs him and he's like, just.
Like, he changed his ways.
Yeah, it changed his way, but it's still the fact that he realized that he saved him, but yet it didn't change anything on his point of view, like from Uncle Martin's point of view, that he looks at him as just this little monster that like he just kind of had to save because I can't let the kid die. And
he didn't say anything about his relationship with Uncle Martin after the wedding, right?
No, just that he had sent him the letters.
So as far as we know, maybe they got along one day or they laughed about it.
I kind of I kind of feel like maybe to make it better, if maybe they could have shown a little more about him and Sarah, Uncle Martin and Sarah, like figuring out their kid thing and, you know, whatever.
It's hard to, because the story is being told from Clifford's point of view. Like, it's hard to focus too much on what other characters are doing without Clifford there.
Yeah, I guess, but this movie also isn't taking itself too seriously. But then,
right?
And I guess that would probably slow down the.
It's like I said, it's hard to say. There's some scenes that I don't think work too well, but there's other things that crack me up and make me laugh out loud. But I don't know what they could have changed or done different. Like I said, maybe just the time frame it came out really affected how people were seeing the movie. And
like, I mean, maybe even if he would have said like Uncle Martin, you know, got a new job, like a really good job, and you know him and Sarah, you know.
Or maybe if they played up more of the Ben Savage stuff, like have him interrupt and ask some questions every now and then. Or,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe that, just simple things like that, you know.
It was adequate comedy for its time. It was a product of its time, and
yeah, it makes me want to watch Three Amigos. Like that one's one of those weird.
Well, we've talked about doing that already.
Weird
on the show.
Movies, but it's fun, you know.
Hey, if you have any requests out there, let us know. We
won't do them.
We're open to watching anything that we agree with you with. No, we'll watch almost anything, really. We have a few requests that we still need to get out of the way. It's just timing issues and availability of the movie to us sometimes can prohibit us from getting them out too quickly. If you want to leave us any comments, ask us any questions, leave us any feedback.
How terrible we are.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you. Write us at The Escape Podcast or just Escape Podcast? Escape Podcast 16 at gmail.com.
Word.
We have a Facebook page. You will see our icon there. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of Escape Podcasts. We're like one of 3. So you will find it.
And then there's a bunch of variants, like ones that have extra...
Yeah.
Same keywords, but they have a few extra...
Or if you want to leave us any comments or feedback on Podomatic or YouTube, feel free. We will always respond to you. It's not hard because nobody does it. So
make our month.
I think that just about wraps it up. We're not exactly sure what's next. So it'll be a surprise for everybody.
Word.
Speaking of Dial, what soap do you use when you're in the shower? Do you use bar soap, liquid soap? What brand of soap?
Bar soap.
You and I are both bar soap, and we're both Irish Spring.